Hey guys, and welcome to the DBGA podcast, a podcast where we interview top level executives inside leading and growing companies in the beauty and e commerce industry. Excited to have our guest today, Jennifer Brodwick. We'll be diving into her story and a little bit about what her company does and some engaging insights in the beauty industry. So I'll go ahead and kick it off to you, Jennifer. Could you please introduce yourself and tell a quick snippet of your story and your background prior to working at Brixy?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for inviting me to be on the podcast. I love doing these things and having conversations around Brixy and sustainability and business. So appreciate the invite. My name is Jen Brodwick. I am the head of sales and marketing for Brixy Beauty. We are a sustainable hair and skincare company that was founded with the mission to reduce plastic waste in our beauty and personal care routines, from hair care to skin care to deodorants, like all things you might use in the bathroom. That's what we're all about, is making it easy for you to live a little bit more sustainably without having to sacrifice on your beauty. But yeah, my background prior to joining Brixy was a little bit of everything. I started in a like a food conscious retail store in Austin, Texas. Basically, they made really great pre-made healthy meals to go. And I was part of the team that launched that company and grew it in the Austin and San Antonio markets. I ran operations for them. And I did that for about 4 years and then ended up shifting careers into software sales, if you can believe it. Quite a jump. But Austin is all about software and tech. And so I got into the mix there. And for about 5 years was with a large software company selling enterprise sales, to network engineers. And then I came over to Brixy, and how I got here was my husband, Kevin, who is the founder of Brixy, previously founded a company called Think Baby and Think Sport, which was a safe consumer products company. And his whole ethos was around making products better for the consumer, with safe ingredients and non-toxic things so that they didn't have to worry about what they were putting on or in their bodies. So products for the whole family. He was acquired in 2020. So that company went on to the new owners, and he started formulating his next big idea, which was Brixy, and wanted to continue the heritage of safe ingredients, but layer in his love for the planet. So making a line of zero plastic packaged products. And he plucked me out of software and said, "Hey, do you want to come work for me? We can, build this company together." It's in a category that I was already passionate about, which is beauty and personal care products. So it was sort of a really easy decision. This also happened around 2020 when COVID was going crazy. And so it was also very easy from that standpoint because it gave me an opportunity to stay home and help him launch that company.
Awesome. That's very interesting. So you kind of explained a little bit about how you got into the beauty industry and how you worked in very different industries before. But I want to ask specifically about beauty. What is it about your job or this industry that you're passionate about?
Yeah, so really it's the experience that we get to provide a consumer. Myself as a consumer too, I love trying new products. I love, testing new things. And so when it comes to like working on our formulations for Brixy, like I'm obviously in the mix with formula, ingredient selection, formula testing, like working with our manufacturers to make sure that the efficacy and the output of the products is, the going to meet the standards of a beauty, enthusiast out there. Because I myself am one. And so I just have like a personal connection to the products I use every day. I started on my clean products journey a few years prior to meeting my husband, Kevin. And when I met him, he taught me all about ingredients and looking up, the safety standards within different databases like the EWG. We're very close with that organization. He's had a longstanding friendship with their CEO and partnership with them. So I learned a lot about how important it was to take care of my body, thinking in terms of what I was putting on my skin. And yeah, from there, it really just evolved. So when I came over to Brixy, I was excited to be part of, a company that makes products that I would get to use every single day and be part of building an experience that our customers would get to have with the products that they use from Brixy every single day. So that's kind of what gets me excited about it. But it's really just a personal love and connection to the products I like to choose for myself. Sounds a little selfish, but that's kind of what got me
No, it
started.
actually makes a lot of sense. And I see that in the beauty industry because I myself, I'm a consumer too. And I see that a lot of people are going towards cleaner, safer products. But I want to ask you, are there any other trends in the market that you're aware of? Kind of what winds are blowing? What are you noticing in terms of trends?
Yeah, well, I think one thing that everyone can agree on is that things are changing fast. Nowadays, with technologies the way they are and the social trends driven by the consumers in the market, things are constantly evolving and changing. And some of the trends that we've picked up on prior to launching Brixy, also during the launch of Brixy, now we're almost 2 years in. One of the things we've been really excited about is the trend with companies using more ESG claims on their packaging. And so environmental, social, and governance claims around the ingredients they've selected, their manufacturing practices, because that's being driven by consumer demand, right? So consumers are saying, we want brands and companies to be ethical in their ingredient sourcing and make sure that they're really looking into our best interests with the ingredients they put in the products that they bring to market, and we want them to showcase that through these claims in their marketing for their products. And so that's something that I've been really amazed by and learning a lot about, was what really are the claims that can be verifiable and third party tested and proven, because marketing jargon is one thing, but like, what can we really say about our products that show that the brand has the ethical backbone to start with the best of the consumer in mind? And so that's kind of what Brixy's ethos has been about. But in terms of trends, that's absolutely something we've seen increasing in importance from a consumer standpoint. In fact, I was just reading a few months back that the Nielsen, IQ, and McKinsey released an article about ESG claims and actually did a study on consumers to see if their words were matching their actions, right? Like, they were saying they wanted to buy better for you products and better for the planet products, but were they actually spending their money there? And what they found through that study was that, and I can send it to you if you'd like, but people were in fact spending more of their money with brands that had certain claims showing that they were either better for the consumer in some way or better for the environment in some way. So that's a really cool trend to see, especially given that we're a mission-driven brand all around, fighting climate change and reducing plastic waste. That's kind of how we got our start. So that's a really exciting trend that we've picked up
Yeah,
on.
that's very interesting. And actually, yeah, that I would love to read that study if you can share it.
Sure, I'll send it over as soon as we pop off.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now I want to transition a little bit and ask you a little bit more about Brixy. So could you tell me about your company and what products are over here at Brixy?
Yeah, so if you haven't picked up already from what I've said, we're a mission-driven brand around plastic-free personal care and beauty. So we were launched in May of 2022 from the same founder and team that had Think Baby and Think Sport. Again, the heritage of the previous company was all around safe, non-toxic ingredients. They had the first BPA-free baby bottle, for example, back in before 2010, before that was even a thing. And then also came out with the first line of mineral sun care to pass Whole Foods premium care requirements. So our heritage from our team really lies in building products that customers love to use, but that are safe for their bodies. And then layering in our love for the planet with the zero plastic packaging was really how Brixy came to be. So we have shampoo bars, conditioner bars, body wash bars, plastic-free bathroom accessories to store these beauty bars in. And we're about to launch facial care actually next week on April 2nd. Our facial care line will be available on our website and on Amazon. And then we're going into other categories too very soon, such as deodorants. And we're going to stay in the bathroom and make sure that we're not getting into too many things. There's some really wonderful brands doing, home cleaning and more sustainable laundry care and oral care, things like that. But we're really going to stick to the beauty and personal care space for our line of products. And that's been about a year and a half since we launched. And it's been a really fun ride ever since. Customers are really curious about it. It's a new concept for a lot of people, but they're definitely open to it. And once they try the products, they fall in love and they're like, why would I go back to liquid products in plastic bottles? So it's a really nice, fun thing to see all the aha moments that customers have along the way. And when they share that with us, it's really
Yeah,
exciting.
definitely. So a lot of projects going on. That's exciting.
Yeah.
You kind of touch upon this already, but I want to give you the opportunity to really dive deeper into this topic of what unique value do Brixy products bring to your customers?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the unique value is sort of twofold. So I like to kind of deviate the different benefits of our products into like why the beauty benefits, like why a person would just want to use our products from a beauty standpoint, and then also the planet benefits, right? Because there's definitely two sides to it. So from a beauty standpoint, we use all the same really great premium ingredients you'd find in water-based products. Even high-end products, shampoos that are selling for $35, $45 a pop, we're using the same ingredients that you find in those formulas. So they're pH balanced for your scalp and your skin. They're designed for your hair. They're soap-free formulas. So essentially, it's all the same good ingredients you'd want to pick already. We're just formulating it without the use of water as a base so that we can get rid of that plastic bottle. And then it just works with the water in your shower. So from a beauty output perspective, you're getting really good, clean formulas and ingredients for your hair and for your skin. So that's one. Another reason that you'd want to, pick it from a beauty standpoint is your skin and your scalp both have what we call a skin barrier. It's a lipid layer that basically protects us from environmental stressors. On your scalp, it's the same as on your skin because it's skin too. It's just on your head. But your hair also needs to be at a certain level of pH. And so what we've done with Brixy is approached our products from ensuring the moisture barrier and that lipid layer is intact and encouraged by the ingredients that we use. So it seals in the moisture into your skin, scalp, and hair. It protects it from environmental stressors that we encounter every day. Like if you're walking around New York City, you've got pollution and smog and everyone's got UV rays as they go out, live their life outside. Blue light even is, known to be damaging to skin over time too. So it's important to make sure that the barrier and of the skin and the scalp is really not compromised in order to have good health in that area. So that's how we approach building our formulas. And I think that makes us a little bit different than some other really great brands. There's wonderful companies out there doing good things, but that does set us a little bit apart. And from an environmental standpoint, we're making products without the use of plastic. So that's obviously one. Since our conception in May of 2022, we've actually diverted over 800,000 plastic bottles from getting into circulation. So you can kind of just do the math. We're a young company and you're approaching 1 million bottles saved. Like that's pretty exciting to us. And there's other companies doing it. So we're all sort of pushing together to really make an impact on reducing consumer plastic and single-use plastic. But the other thing that consumers would care about from a value and a planet-friendly perspective is bars last longer than liquid products. So because they're concentrated, one Brixy bar is going to last longer than 3 8-ounce bottles of water-based shampoo or conditioner. So you can do the math in your head. Our bars are $13.99. If depending on what you're spending on your shampoo and conditioner, because that's a wide range of potential products, you absolutely end up saving money. You're using less resources along the way. And so it's just kind of an all-around benefit from beauty to environmental, and then of course to your bank account. So it all kind of culminates in just this like really great solution that I'm really surprised didn't become more popular a lot sooner. To be honest.
That's true. That's true. I'm originally from France, and it's been a few years now that we see this type of products coming in. But that's true. It's crazy that no one really thought about it before because it's beneficial in so many aspects, like you said.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's come such a long way. For a long time, I think the standard was liquid, and we didn't understand the impact of, the leaching of the plastic, microplastics into the products, and the issue that creates as those products flow down the drain, right, and into our water supply. And so I think as the education for consumers and companies alike started to rise, and the climate the attention that the climate and the environmental impacts of doing business was getting, it's really exciting to see people shifting and adjusting to make options that are better for the planet and better for people. So yeah, it's nice. Europe is so far advanced in some ways, like the ingredient policies of the EU and Japan, those are sort of like the gold standard when it comes to ingredient selection. So we absolutely fall in line with the standards, by the way, of the EU and the Japanese. So it's just very cool to see different cultures and different markets across the world starting to welcome this type of product into the market as mainstream.
Definitely, definitely. Now I want to transition a little bit to another topic because, as you know, we are a data analytics company. So I'm always curious to hear about what other people are experiencing in the industry. So I want to ask you, in your experience, how does data influence decision making and strategies in the beauty industry?
Well, in the industry as a whole, it impacts it a ton. Obviously, I think that what first comes to mind when we look at data from an industry perspective is, we first look at, what are consumers buying and looking for, because a lot of times that drives what brands then go create. And so when you look across the analytics of customer purchase data or technologies that are emerging, what customers are searching online, it all sort of culminates to really impact where companies invest their money into technologies and how they're manufacturing products. I mentioned the ESG claims. Brands are investing more in like getting those third-party verifications because consumers are showing through their purchasing decisions that they want those claims on the products that they're buying. So I think it impacts everything from the technologies and the products that get developed in order to come to market to what sits on the shelf, right, at a retailer. So things that impact, the retailers have their own set of analytics as well in the beauty and really any industry. And so they look at that, and that's going to impact their decisions on what stays on their shelves, what gets the boot, what they're telling their brands that they have relationships with that they want to see in the future. I think that a really great brand and retailer that have that good relationship work together to understand what the customers at that retailer want, and so therefore what they go create together almost. So yeah, it impacts everything. And I feel like I'm talking in broad strokes here, but just because it's sort of a general question of industry wide. But hopefully that answered your question enough.
Yeah,
There's different resources, right? Like there's trends online of what's being searched, and then there's trends on that retailers can see from what's being purchased and getting scanned inside their environments. So lots of different things that you can look at to make decisions for your company.
definitely. And now we talked about the industry. Now I want to talk about Brixy. So could you share insights on the role of data analytics in understanding consumer and preferences and trends within your own company?
Yeah, absolutely. So Brixy is a small company. We're a team of, I like to lovingly say two and a half. We have some interns. Our founder, Kevin, is also working on another project and is also slightly retired. So it's really Trey and I running the business day to day with help from our, outside sources. But I think that for Brixy itself, it's a challenge because we are limited on time and limited on resources being a small brand and very much a startup. Like we're still very much in that growth phase and startup phase. So what we look to when it comes to data is we're looking into our Shopify and our Amazon analytics to try to understand our customers the customers that are spending the money with us, where they're coming from, how they're finding us, and then what sort of purchases are they making with our assortment. It's really interesting because when we started Brixy, our brand, if you've taken a look at it, which I'm sure you have, is fun, it's bright, it's on trend. And we really wanted to approach the packaging and the design and the personality of Brixy with a young energy. And we've done that. We were thinking that this would really appeal to a younger demographic because, that they tend to care more about the planet and the environment and the future that they're going to inherit. But what we found through the analytics and the data is that it's actually, we're getting a lot of those customers, yes, but we're actually getting way more from the 35 to 55 range, which is super, exciting to me because it shows that that age group is also curious, also interested, but it took us by surprise. And if we didn't use the analytics and the data provided to us, we would never have known that. So yeah, we definitely are utilizing all of the analytics within the softwares that we use. And I will say we're also closely, synced up with our retail buyers. So the buyer at Whole Foods and Sprouts and our big retailers, like we're looking to them to, help us understand the analytics that they're seeing. So with those relationships, we're absolutely, trying to make sure that we stay on top of the data that's coming out of the retail environments. I will say that, there's great organizations like Spins that's out there that kind of tracks all of this too. And while we haven't invested in that yet, it's something that we actively want to do in the future. It really comes down to having the financial resources to spend on something like that. Because right now it's going into growth and it's going into new products. And that's kind of where we're putting all of our focus right now.
Yeah, that
So,
makes sense.
yeah, a lot of different places that we look
Yeah.
to for the
Yeah,
data.
exactly. I wanna follow up on this topic of like different sources of data, because that's actually a big challenge to have an overview of everything when everything is just like all around the place. So, um, what are some of the key challenges you face in gathering and utilizing data effectively in your role at Brixy?
Yeah. So, in my role specifically, well, I'll give you a little breakout of responsibilities. So, Trey, our CEO, handles all of the big retailer relationships, the Whole Foods and the Sprouts of the world, because really the majority of our business is run through our retail partners. We're pushing people to them to make sure our retail partners are successful. So he's looking at the analytics from there. But what I can speak to with my side of things is I'm in charge of all of the e-com and all of the marketing. So I'm constantly looking at our website, our social media accounts, trying to understand the trends of like how those connect, right? How we're getting in front of consumers online and then driving them to our site, and then there's their pathways to purchase, right? The challenges that I face is really about time, money, and expertise, to be quite honest. So because I shared my background with you, I didn't come from a digital marketing background. I didn't come from a background that was familiar with e-com D2C sales. But I like to believe that I'm intelligent enough to figure things out and move forward. And I've surrounded myself with some pretty great folks that can give me advice when I need it. So I'd say for me, the challenges are as a small entrepreneur, co-founder of a small brand, it's the time, and it's the resources. And then once I get both of those things and I can really look at the data, it's getting my arms wrapped around it, giving myself enough time looking at that data to be able to analyze it and then make decisions based off of it. So we're wearing a lot of different hats over here, Trey and I. So we are constantly shifting across the buckets, right? The sales buckets, the marketing buckets, the ops buckets. Like there's all these different buckets we've got to live within each day. And so finding the time to dedicate to the data can be challenging at times, but it's obviously very important. So we make it work.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, when you're growing a small brand and it's the beginning, there's so many hats that you need to take. So I wanted to ask you, what would you say is the type of mindset that is needed to be a successful sales and marketing leader?
Yeah. So I don't think that this is necessarily unique to being a sales and marketing leader. I think it's in relation to being a co-founder of a brand, a leader in any capacity, regardless of your industry. I think it just is a little bit about managing your expectations and your attitude towards your day to day. There is a movie quote that I'm going to forget the movie it's from, but it really hit me when I heard it. It's talking about managing the smiles and managing the cries, right? As a co-founder and as a small, brand leader, you're constantly moving across different buckets that need your attention. And there can be days where you feel like you're on top of the world and everything's falling into place and things are working and everything's, moving in the right direction. And there can be times when you feel like you've been working for a couple of weeks now and like no good news has happened, right? It's sort of just all been a little bit stagnant, but every day you're making progress. And so I think managing your mood and your approach to your day to day to not ever get too overly excited about something, but also not ever get too low and, bummed out about something if it doesn't go your way is really important. When you ride that roller coaster, I think you get burnt out very quickly. And so I think that having a level-headed approach to your day-to-day, a positive approach to your day-to-day, is really important, because also the people below you that you're leading will feed off of that energy. And if your energy is chaotic and they don't know who they're going to see going into a day, it can really be difficult for your team to understand how to navigate the relationship and communication with you and to execute well at their level too. So hopefully that answered your question, but I think it's all about managing the smiles and the
Yeah,
cries,
definitely.
is what I like to say.
I like this quote. I'm gonna remember it. Thank you for sharing it.
I'll find the movie. I'll find the movie it's from and send it to you. But it's a Denzel Washington movie. I
I
know
love
that.
Washington.
Um, I'll find it and I'll send it
Oh
to you.
yeah, thank you so much. At the beginning of our conversation, you explained that Brixy has a lot of projects coming, but in terms of time frame, I wanted to ask you, what is your vision for the next 12 months?
Oh gosh, when you ask me that question, I just see like big neon sign that says new, 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 like everything new. So 2024 for us and our company is all about launching new products. We started in January with our travel sets, our plastic-free beauty bar travel sets, which are so adorable. They're colorful and they're fun. They're obviously plastic-free. And it was something that our customers have been asking for since day one, probably the most requested item since we launched from the people that really enjoy using Brixy. They're saying, I need something to travel with, right? Give me something to travel with these products. So we launched that in January. And then next week on Tuesday, I think it's Tuesday, April 2nd, we're launching our facial care line. So we're going to have 3 SKUs of facial care launching. And there's a lot of activity that goes into launching a product, from a marketing aspect to the operational, aspect of getting it into your warehouse and into the distribution centers and everything, right? And then, of course, letting the world know that it's there and it's available. And so there's the facial care next week. And then in less than 90 days, probably midsummer, we're going to come out with functional based shampoos. So more shampoos to add to our lineup. One is going to be a deep hydration for drier curly hair. One is going to be a strengthening shampoo bar for anyone dealing with thinning hair or just that wants to overall fortify their strands and create a really healthy ecosystem at their scalp level. So lots of new hair care coming. And then also we're in the midst of formulating new products for launch in 2025, which feels like such a long ways away, but it's going to come here in the blink of an eye. So for us, this year is all about newness and creating momentum around that newness and making sure the world knows like what's available as we release it, so that they can come try
That's
out.
awesome. That sounds very exciting. A lot of good projects coming in. That's great. Now I have,
Yeah, it's a fun
yeah,
time.
I'm sure. Now my last question. It's a big one. What are some of the most important things you've learned in your career?
Yeah. So when you when you sent this question and I really started thinking about it, there's so many cliche type answers that came to my mind, like attitude is everything and just got to be positive, like all the things that I'm like, gosh, but is that really the most important thing? And I couldn't land on some of those being the right thing. But what I did end up getting to, I was chatting with my husband and we were looking at, what's made us successful in our own careers, in our own lives, and the various types of careers I've had. And one of the things that stuck with me that really ended up being like clearly the most important thing that I've learned, regardless of wherever I've been in my career, is that you need to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you and that can help you along the way when needed. Because if you're on your own and you're just struggling, like there's always going to be things you don't know, right? And you might be able to figure them out, but it might take you a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of failure to get there. So I think in my career, whether it was starting out right out of college, finding a mentor that could help introduce me to life in the corporate world, whether it's, our group of advisors at Brixy, we have a stellar advisory team from, people that are product designers and formulators to beauty executives from L'Oreal and, big beauty experts, to operations and finance guys. Like we've really surrounded ourselves with a team of experts that we don't talk to every day, but they're on our board. We can call them if we need their help so that we don't get into this position of struggling through and spending a lot of time and wasted resources on something. So I think as a company, as an individual, you've just got to surround yourself with those people that can really help level you up, that want to see you succeed, because nobody can do it alone, right? And it's just a lot faster and a lot more pleasant when you have people in your corner cheering you on. So I would say that's the most important lesson I've learned. I've been there where I've tried to just power through and muscle through myself, and it was a lonely road. And I remember the time that I felt like I just needed to do that. But the moment that I realized I need help, and I reached out to people, like, people want to help you. So it's really, it was eye opening, I think, when I thought back to those times about how much better I executed in my role, and how much more enthusiastic I was going into my day because I knew I had support and people cheering me on. So I think that's probably the most important thing, is surround yourself with smart people and empower them to help you if they can. And obviously appreciate that because it makes a huge
Yeah,
difference.
definitely agree with that. It makes me think about a quote that is, I believe it is, if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. And
Yeah, I've seen that. And it's so true.
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, I really love that. Thank you for sharing this. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Now, for the people that are listening or watching this and that want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Yeah, so you can always go to our website. So it's gobrixy.com. So GOBRIXY.com. I'll cover this because at the end, I want to make sure everyone knows, like, we got our name because all of our products are little bricks. And people ask, like, what does the name Brixy mean? But we make all these little great bricks that are beauty and personal care. So that's kind of where that name came from. So gobrixy.com is the website. You can always reach out to us on there. Our email and contact info will come to Trey and I, so we'll see it. You're not going into the ether somewhere. If you have a question on the products or the company, we're happy to answer that. If you're a customer that's curious about shopping Brixy, obviously our website, or you can easily shop us on Amazon, but I would love for you to go support our retailers. So the Whole Foods and the Sprouts of the world, they have our products in all locations. But if you've got a natural market near you, a lot of those health and natural markets that are mom and pops and small regional chains, they carry Brixy too. So go support local, shop local, and I think you'll be quite surprised that you'll find Brixy in a lot of those places. You can always go to the store locator on our website too and just type in your zip code and it'll tell you what retailer near you carries us.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I'll put all that information in the description of the podcast. So if you need it, you can just click the link. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Take care.
Bye.